evening. This is the India Development Debate right here on ET Now. I'm Supriya Shrinate, and straight on to the big story and the big debate this evening. It's the big face-off ahead of the final showdown early next year. Voting for Madhya Pradesh and Mizoram state assemblies will begin tomorrow, and it's a cliffhanger for Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chouhan, who is seeking re-election for a record fourth time. In Mizoram, which also votes for a new government tomorrow, the big question is whether the Congress will be able to hold on to its last bastion in the northeast region. In the battle for states, the Congress and BJP are locked in a direct fight in the three Hindi heartland states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. A lot is at stake for Prime Minister Modi and the Congress chief Rahul Gandhi. A poor show in the three key states of MP, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh will deal a body blow to Team Modi, while on the other hand, winning back MP and Rajasthan will give and aid the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi to consolidate his position in the proposed Mahagathbandhan of sorts. The big fight ahead of 2019 general elections is our topic of discussion and debate right here on the India Development Debate this evening. Joining us is a stellar panel of experts and politicians. I'm being represented by the BJP is Syed Zafar Islam here. Sanjay Jha represents the Congress party. Anand Ranganathan, scientist and author, joins us. Sagarika Ghosh, our consulting editor with the Times of India, is here with us in the studios. And Sadanand Dhume, resident fellow, American Enterprise Institute, joins us as well. So thank you very much, each one of you, for sparing time and being with us this evening. Elections 2018 will perhaps be a key and a cue for what is in store for 2019. Is that, however, the right way to describe these state assembly elections? And Sadanand, if I may begin with you, a lot of people are saying that 2018 is really a semi-final to 2019, the grand finale. Do you believe that statement is true? Is this, however, instead going to be a referendum on state governments? How are you going to read these elections and their importance?
Well, Supriya, I think that depends entirely on where you sit. You know, if I were living in Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, then obviously the significance of this election goes way beyond its being a preview for 2019, right? This is about roads and jobs and whatever else matters to the people who happen to live in those states. But if you are observing this from a distance, then of course the most significant thing is what this will tell us about 2019. And in that sense, and I think I've said this before, this is very much, it's extremely important for both the BJP and the Congress. But I think in particular for Congress, you know, this is really going to set the table, and it's going to let us know whether heading into 2019, the BJP faces a serious national challenger or whether it doesn't. And I think that, to me at least, is the biggest takeaway from these, will be the biggest takeaway from these elections.
No, fair point indeed. And these are also states where we are going to see a direct contest between the BJP and the Congress. And, you know, Sagarika is somebody who's been in Madhya Pradesh, so I'm tempted to go to her when I'm coming to that point in just a bit. But Sagarika, bear with me. I'll take a quick question to Anand Ranganathan, and I'll just request my panelists to be brief because there's so much ground to cover, you know, four assemblies and states to cover there, and of course big national questions as well. Anand, out of the 5 states, 3 of these states are the Hindi heartland, you know, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. And it is a direct contest between the Congress and the BJP. Out of the 65 Lok Sabha seats, the BJP actually has 62 of these seats. With an eye on 2019, how crucial are these state assembly elections going to be? Because this is going to have a direct repercussion on the number of seats that the BJP does boast of in parliament from this Hindi heartland region, and where they have actually peaked.
Yeah, thanks very much, Supriya, for having me. Well, it's very difficult to say the impact of these state elections on the 2019 elections. Many people are of the opinion that yes, they will have an impact, while others say they might not, considering that all the 3 states, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, are heavily incumbent or anti-incumbent states, that I can put it, whereas the center, there is not so much of anti-incumbency because obviously Mr. Modi has governed for 5 years. But of course it may have an effect, but at the end of the day, you know, I need to make a couple of points here. One is that the Prime Minister is jittery. He has actually, if you notice his rally in Madhya Pradesh lately, he's actually scared the voters, and I'll come to that a little later, how that scare of Mr. Modi was missed by probably everyone. But beforehand, I'd like to say that, you know, why do people vote? They vote for development. Either they vote for development or they vote for emotions. But generally in states, you know, for example, like Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan or Chhattisgarh, they would vote for development. And how do you assess development? So you can have health indicators, education indicators, but lately a fantastic new indicator has come from the stables of Oxford scientists. It's called the Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index, MPI. And there, if you were to look at how the states have performed, because people have applied that template onto the Indian states, of course, Kerala, so the higher the MPI is, the worse the state is. So Kerala 10 years ago was 0.1. Now it is 0.001. If you look at Madhya Pradesh, that is what we are discussing right now. I'll come to Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan later. There has been a reduction, but from 0.5 to 0.3. So so there are things that have improved at the same time. You know, Madhya Pradesh, for example, it has the poorest district probably in the world, worse than Sub-Saharan, Alirajpur. How do you balance
Anand, you know, I'm going to discuss. I will be discussing Madhya Pradesh threadbare. Give me a minute.
Scared the vote.
No, Anand, give me a minute. I will come to that. That's an interesting point that you're talking about in this debate, and I've just noted it down, and I'll come to that in just a bit because I know what you're referring to, but I'd rather hear it from you than say it myself. Sagarika, you've been touring MP, and let's begin with that big Hindi heartland. The BJP has been there in power since 2003 as the state votes tomorrow. How are things stacked? Is anti-incumbency a factor? Has it caught on? I mean, which way are the scales really tipped? Because there are several people out there who believe there is discontent against an incumbent government of Shivraj Singh Chouhan. What is it that you saw on the ground? Can Maharaj, Scindia and Kamal Nath combo upset the deep-rooted Sangh influence?
Supriya, you're right. I travelled extensively in Madhya Pradesh and I must say I came away with the impression of a mirror cracked. I know this is a simple thing to say and everybody comes away from state saying mirror cracked, every region is voting differently. But in fact, in Madhya Pradesh, it really seems as if the battle is constituency by constituency, region by region. You've got Gwalior, Chambal, Bundelkhand and Vindhya Pradesh, where the caste factor is very high, where the Bharat Bandh had a huge impact, where the Sapaks, which is the upper caste anti-reservation front, is very strong, where Dalit anger is very strong. That's in the Gwalior Chambal region where caste is very strong. That's where the Congress is hoping to make gains. Remember, the BJP has this time dropped 53 MLAs and changed 7. So 53 have been dropped, 7 have been asked to change their constituencies. And the maximum impact of this is in Gwalior Chambal. So Gwalior Chambal seeing a very fierce caste battle, a very fierce anti-incumbency thread, and a very determined effort by the Congress to actually make a break over there, because remember, that is the Scindia belt. That is the belt where the Mahal is very dominant. Then there's Malwa. Malwa Nimar is where the BJP is very dominant, where the RSS has actually ruled the roost for decades. This is the sort of BJP stronghold. Remember, in Malwa, the BJP won 55 out of 66 seats in 2013. But in Malwa, Supriya, very interestingly, I sense that the RSS is a little less than enthusiastic this time. Maybe because it is a personality cult of Shivraj Singh Chouhan, maybe because successive generations feel a little marginalized, maybe the old guard of the RSS feels that it's being whittled away a bit. But I found that the level of enthusiasm of the RSS cadres in Malwa Nimar is a little bit low. Then, of course, you have the Mahakaushal belt where Kamal Nath is dominant. He's playing his cards very well. And the Congress, I must say, is fighting a good campaign this time. They're united, more united than ever before. They've got their cadres on the ground. They don't have as much booth strength as the BJP. But you've got the collective leadership of Digvijay, Scindia and Kamal Nath, which is actually working very well. Then you, of course, have the Vindhya Pradesh and the other regions there, where again the caste factor is coming to the fore. This time, Supriya, what I'm seeing is a very strong caste factor. You know, the SC/ST Act has had a tremendous impact in Madhya Pradesh. The amendment to the SC/ST Act has also had a tremendous impact because that has caused upper caste fury. Upper caste fury. So,
SC/ST Act that you're talking about. Yes, yes. Yeah, you know, you raise an important point about caste, and I'm going to discuss that in just a bit. But I want to take a direct question to the BJP. Zafar, is MP a battle between Shivraj Singh Chouhan versus the rest? I mean, how decisive a factor is he and his last 3 terms and his policy is going to be when the state votes tomorrow? He's fondly known as Mama Ji. Is he the main face for whom people will vote? Is this going to be Mr. Modi all over again, like it was in Gujarat or Karnataka? I mean, the curious thing here is that, is this really going to be Mamaji who's seeking a verdict, and will the vote be for him?
Supriya, let me tell you very clearly, having been in Madhya Pradesh for over a month, I can tell you with conviction that it's a certain victory for Bharatiya Janata Party, without a doubt. Purely because the ground reality is what Sagarika was talking about. I mean, I have visited, and I may not have visited like Sagarika, but of course I have visited people and the region where Bharatiya Janata Party voters are there, Bharatiya Janata Party workers are there, and countless number of people I have been able to meet. And based on the feedback and the feedback mechanism which we have, the party has the feedback mechanism through Panna Pramukh, through booth level people, and various other sources which provides us the feedback. The outcome of that feedback, in nutshell, I would say that we will definitely have a significant margin in terms of votes percentage over Congress party, and in terms of seats, it will be higher or slightly lower than what we had last year. But what is important? Since she was talking about the RSS Karyakarta in Nimar region or Malwa region, and they are less enthusiastic, I think she has taken completely wrong picture, and the kind of commitment and conviction they have demonstrated, and they have been demonstrating over last several years, is something which is exemplary. Secondly, the face of Chief Minister is the most acceptable face in Madhya Pradesh. He is the most respectable face. He is the face who has actually created, has been able to meet the aspiration and expectation of the people of Madhya Pradesh in terms of the achievement, in terms of delivery. Just last 2 seconds. See, two things. What is more important? I would like to highlight the two things. 10 seconds. Only 10 seconds. Whatever promises which had been made by Congress parties prior to 2003, we have been able to deliver that in terms of Bijli, Pani, Sadak. We have been able to provide 24 hours electricity. We have been able to provide home to homeless and water, sanitation, everything. Besides that, if you just see the double income, like we said, double income group. Here, the same factor is at the center.
Zafar, 1 second. Give me a minute now. I'll have to come in there. I think Sagarika agrees with you. Zafar, you can't go on. That is my problem. I just think people have to stop talking when the anchor begins to talk. I just think we need to take the conversation forward. Sagarika agrees with you that Shivraj Singh Chouhan is an extremely popular face. He is the Mamaji. People like him there. The question is, can he do a fourth time around is the big question. But Sanjay Jha, if the BJP were to lose Madhya Pradesh, they can always blame it on the 1.5 decade of anti-incumbency factor to gloss over the defeat. But if the Congress fails to trounce BJP, what will it mean for the party and its leadership? For the first time, you're actually seeing a Jyotiraditya Scindia and a Kamal Nath work together. For the first time, you're seeing Digvijay Singh not in the race and trying to help the party. This is a high-voltage political campaign that has been led by none other than your party chief as himself. You know, from being a divided house, at least the reports of what were coming, people like Sagar who've toured the state are saying it isn't such a divided house anymore. So how crucial is Madhya Pradesh for you, and what will a victory or a loss mean?
People have been speculating or talking about the Congress cruising to a huge victory in Rajasthan, which we believe is going to happen. But our own internal surveys and ground reports that we have collected over several weeks, even preceding the announcement of the elections, told us that there is a very strong, in fact, a stronger anti-incumbency against Shivraj Singh Chouhan in Madhya Pradesh, and it has equal collateral impact even in Chhattisgarh, where we are very confident of actually winning that election as well. To answer your question, I think every state matters. For the Congress party in particular, I think we have seen an upsurge since Gujarat. In Karnataka, for example, although the BJP had more seats, we did very well. We had higher vote percentages. We are seeing a shift, a momentum shift. Now, I'll answer one question very candidly before you. I remember 5 years ago in 2013, I was before TV channels, and I'll share it with you in all honesty. We knew that we were facing huge headwinds. and they were, you know, apparent even in the Delhi state, which went for elections around the same time. There is a perceptible, I would say, at the moment, a groundswell demanding change. And if you look at the common factors, Supriya, I won't take too long. It is the farmer distress. It is joblessness of the youth. You know, the other day, you know, we don't discuss these things on TV channels because everything is about some communal polarization issue. But 4 young men in Rajasthan jumped in front of a train and committed suicide because they didn't have jobs. I think that is telling you the manifestation.
No,
of
we'll
the
come to
kind of
Rajasthan.
crisis
Sanjay,
that is there.
Sanjay,
I
okay.
can argue on
Sanjay,
data, but let me tell you.
okay. Sanjay,
Yeah.
no, Sanjay, give me a minute. I want to switch over to Rajasthan since you mentioned that. And Sagarika, let me begin this one with you. The swing state of Rajasthan is going to decide on December 7th, and according to pollsters, Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje is fighting with her back against the wall. It almost seems to be a given that, you know, this is going to do, and Rajasthan has always alternated between the Congress and the BJP. Opinion polls, of course, gave Congress a comfortable lead. I think some of that lead has been reduced of late, at least the new ones that are coming in. Is Rajasthan for Congress to lose?
Very good question. That's a very good question because, you know, actually, when we started out in the campaign in Rajasthan, it looked as if there was a Congress wave. It looked as if Vasundhara Raje was being swept out and the Congress was being swept in. I think the situation is changing a little bit there in Rajasthan. Rajasthan, as you rightly say, is a ding-dong state. It alternates between Congress and BJP, although, except in 1993, it defeated this trend when Bhairav Singh Shekhawat formed the government with independence, and also in 2008 when Ashok Gehlot formed the government with BSP. So, twice this trend has been defeated, but it is very much an election for the Congress to lose because I think, you know, what has happened in Rajasthan with the Congress campaign is that the kind of dual power center between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot that we're seeing has affected the campaign somewhat. There's not a whole lot of cooperation between these two individuals. In fact, there is some animosity and there is mutual suspicion. So I think the kind of a lack of perhaps complete cooperation between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot has caused a certain dip in the Congress campaign. Also, the ticket distribution hasn't been all that great in Rajasthan. And what is happening now is, as the prospect of victory is increasing among Congress, more and more rebels are jumping into the fray. Of course, Sachin Pilot has gone on record to say that these rebels who are coming in are not winnable. So it doesn't matter if they're rebels. But the fact is that more and more rebels have come in. There are a host of smaller parties and third front parties which are contesting in their own independent pocket. So Rajasthan is looking less like a wave, when in the beginning it really did look as if this was the Congress was sweeping to power. But on the other hand, you know, we also have a massive anti-incumbency among BJP cadres against the Vasundhara Raje. That is a factor as well. She's not as popular with the cadre as Shivraj Singh Chouhan is. Shivraj Singh Chouhan, very, very different personality, very hands on the ground, very mellow. He's much more popular than she is.
Alternated between the Congress and the BJP, yeah. Exactly. Just hold that thought, because I want to take this across to Anand Ranganathan. And Anand, Rajasthan has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. With all due respect, in the last 5 years, whether it's lynching of cow smugglers to a Hindutva tilt in the school syllabus, will a verdict in some sense, you know, either be a big vote of confidence in that regime, in the Saffron Brigade and what they were trying to do, or is this going to really end the nonsense of communal politics in the state? I mean, the lynching incidents that came to light, the horror, honor killings and all of that. Rajasthan has been notorious to actually throw up stories and news like that in the last 5 years. Is this going to put an end to news flow of that sort?
Supriya, it's very difficult to say, first of all, on Rajasthan, because, I mean, there have been many cases of lynchings and attempted lynchings by Muslim mobs on Hindus and Dalits that actually go unreported. So it's very difficult to say unless you're not selective. But can I just correct the BJP spokesperson when he talked about, you know, the doubling the farmer income? I mean, this is why facts are very important. So there is no doubt that in Madhya Pradesh, the wheat production as a percentage of total India production has zoomed under Shivraj Singh, absolutely zoomed, and the percentage agriculture share has actually increased dramatically. But at the same time, if you look at when Shivraj Singh Chouhan came in, the Indian average rural income was the same as MP Madhya Pradesh average rural income. Right now, it is 2/3 of it. So it has actually decreased from the Indian average. So, you know, it's wrong to say that there is no agricultural distress over there and there are no loss of jobs. We all know what happened during demonetization. So I think the BJP spokesperson was actually not quite correct with the facts. But let me very quickly, finally, just give you this scare, because, you know, that is very important, that a lot of people missed. The Prime Minister said in one of his election speeches in Madhya Pradesh, भाइयों बहनों, शिवराज सिंह चौहान 15 साल से हैं, but उन्होंने सिर्फ 5 साल काम किया है. क्यों किया है? क्योंकि 10 साल कांग्रेस सरकार सेंटर में थी, उन्होंने काम नहीं करने दिया. So A, it is like a pathetic Kejriwal type excuse, and number 2, this is almost like scaring the electorate in kind of emotionally blackmailing, saying that look, now we are in center. If you bring Shivraj Singh Chouhan again in center, we will make sure that he is able to work what he wasn't able to do when UPA was at the center. So this is what people miss. It is kind of a very, I would say, wrong emotional tactic that the Prime Minister played that most missed. You know, this thing about states being helped by the center, and we will help Madhya Pradesh if you bring Shivraj Singh Chouhan in power.
That's an interesting, no, Anand, that's a very interesting observation that you make. This whole scaremongering of sorts that, and I like the analogy that you put out. This is a very Kejriwal sort of an argument that I'm not
Supriya,
being allowed to work because of the government in the center. I know Zafar, I'm coming exactly to you. I know you would want to rebut this, but do that very briefly, because I have a direct question for you even on Rajasthan, where you seem to be on the back foot. The buzzword is that the Congress is perhaps coming back. Sachin Pilot is an extremely popular youth leader there. Gehlot is somebody who's been chief minister, extremely entrenched. Even Amit Shah hasn't been able to control the party in the Raj. I mean, is there somewhere where you lost the plot? Because Raje, unlike Shivraj Singh Chouhan, is not popular. She seems to be very unpopular, not just with the electorate, but with your party workers and the central leadership also, if I may.
Very long. Let me respond to both the. First of all, let me respond to Mr. Anand Raghunathan. He is a scientist, but I didn't know that he is a mind reader as well, because I haven't spoken about anything about farmers. No, I didn't speak anything about farmer in my opening remarks. I don't know how he heard what he heard. He was talking because he has come with a set mind and what he has to speak. Or he is a mind reader, but let me tell you that I will discuss about the farmers as well when she will give me the opportunity. But coming back to what question she has posed. See, as far as Rajasthan is concerned, there is absolutely no concern about the leadership. All this discussion about the leadership, the disenchantment among the workers, and people are not uncomfortable with Raja Scindia ji. It is all only in the press and people are talking about. As far as Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, it is not a chanchal voters like of workers like of Congress Party. It is people who are fully committed, having conviction with the ideology, with the party, with the party's policies, and the philosophy of the party, are the workers of the Bharatiya Janata Party. They are committed soldiers. They are committed to party's ideology, and those committed workers do not worry about who is leading. Those committed workers only worry about what is the policy and how we have to serve the people for their welfare, and so they safeguard the interests of the people. So all this discussion was absolutely invalid and unwarranted, because the Bharatiya Janata Party's leaders, senior leadership has full confidence in the leadership of Vasundhara ji, and those discussion and comments coming from different quarters have absolutely no base. Secondly, can I just now come to this farmers issue which Mr. Anand Vandarajan, the mind reader, was talking about? Let me tell you first thing. In 2003...
No, he is not a mind reader, and we are not discussing the farmer right now. Give me a minute. Zafar, you'll have to give me a minute. I will go to the Congress. You say Vasundhara Raje is an extremely popular leader, and there is no such attempt to upstage her. We were all given to understand that Om Mathur was considered, in fact, very seriously at one point in time to be replacing Vasundhara Raje. But give me a minute. Sanjay Jha, I'll come to you. You don't seem to make up your mind ever on who's going to be the chief minister if you were to win Rajasthan. Just like you haven't been able to make up your mind about MP and it's Kamal Nath and Jyotiraditta Scindia both in the fray. Here you've got Sachin Pilot and an Ashok Gehlot. The reality is that many people thought with Rahul Gandhi at the helm you'll be able to take a leap of faith with the young leadership. I think the young leadership continues to wait in the wings, and it's the old guard that continues to run the show. Why can you not make up your mind?
Supriya, let me tell you, I don't think our party has any talent deficit problems like the BJP has both at the center and states. If you really think about it in depth, I mean, the Congress has got many people, many substitutes for every top leader at both the central and the state level. Where Rajasthan is concerned, I want to let you, I don't want to get into the very detailed economic data, but just look at one headline figure. During the time of Mr. Ashok Gehlot, the CAGR on economic growth or GDP growth of Rajasthan was 7%. During the time of the current Chief Minister, Mrs. Vijayaraje Scindia, it is down to 5%. So, you are talking about really a significant 2% difference over 5 years. So, the impact on jobs, on farmers, on livelihoods, etc. has been tremendous. But, the factors that are common are actually the youth, the unemployment, the farmer issues, corruption. Please don't ignore corruption, and terrible governance. We are not being complacent at all. We recognize that, both Mr. Raman Singh and Mr. Chouhan have been there for 15 years. But this time, I think the difference has been that we have, I think, got some of the, the nitty-gritties of campaigning a lot better. Social media has been fantastic. I think our people at the booth level have been very, very strong. And which is why I think you're going to see a huge upset happening in Telangana. I remember KCR's political arrogance, preponing an election because he was so sure of a victory. And I can tell you right now with a lot of confidence that Telangana is going to give a very surprise hard knock to KCR.
Okay.
And I think these things happen in politics when you're so consumed
Sanjay, now that you talk
by your
about
own
Telangana, I'm
hubris
sorry, I'll have to come in there. And Sadanand, okay, Sanjay, give me a minute. Sadanand, I'll come to you. The fact that Sanjay Jha mentions Telangana, how important is the assembly election in Telangana, given the fact that two very strange bedfellows, you've got the TDP, which was formed rising on anti-Congress sentiment, and the Congress itself have come together to fight against KCR. Is Telangana really going to be the test ground for a potential grand alliance? I need to pick the brains of experts here because I think Sagrika has also been in Telangana. You have a fair understanding of the region. Is this going to be a test ground for a potential grand alliance that the Congress seems to be very keen and desperate, if I may, to cobble up?
I mean, of course, it matters, and if the Congress can, pull out a victory, I think it'll be, of great significance for them. And I think the fact is that the BJP is extremely weak across the South. Despite Modi's charisma, it hasn't really made inroads. We'll wait and see about Kerala, but it hasn't really made inroads anywhere outside its traditional bastion of Karnataka. And I think that if the Congress does manage to win, I think it'll just underscore the message that there's a large chunk of this country where the BJP is a very weak player. That said, I think nobody thinks that Telangana is going to be remotely as significant as the three Hindi heartland states. I also want to sort of, come back to the small question about, economics, and Anand and others were talking about this. I have been struck, observing this from a distance, I've been struck to the degree by which this is no longer, the politics leading into 2019 is really no longer about hope. It's no longer about promising people a better life. It's a lot of it is about, well, the other guy is even worse. And I think in a sense, this does speak to the Modi government's failure to generate jobs, the Modi government's failure to sort of create any kind of economic story, economic feel-good story. So it's kind of, fallen back on identity politics. It has fallen back on it talks about some of the welfare schemes, and it sort of tries to scare voters, as Anand was saying, that, if the Congress comes back, don't forget the bad old days. And to me, that really is the larger significance of what we're seeing over here. And I think that sometimes gets missed.
No, Sagrika, if I may take up that argument even forward, I mean, I completely agree with you, Sadanand, that, that politics of hope before 2014 is definitely missing. It's going back to square one. It's talking about Ayodhya. It's talking about Ram, people's gotras and things like that. We will just talk about that in a bit. Give me a minute. And I'm going to discuss Telangana and Mizoram and then switch on to the big picture. But Sagrika, very quickly, when Sadanand says that, of course, Telangana is not as important as the rest of the states, like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, the Hindi heartland, I tend to agree with him. But Telangana could also be a state where it's going to be a test of an alliance, and a very unlikely sort of an alliance that the Congress and the TDP have got into. And Telangana, because look at the kind of political rhetoric in Telangana. For the Prime Minister to be there today and all that he said in that election rally about KCR and accusing them of perpetuating family rule, then KCR hitting back, it's got to be far more strategic than it appears to be for this kind of a political slugfest to happen.
I think Telangana is important precisely because it will demonstrate the strength of a possible anti-BJP alliance going forward into 2019. Having said that, Supriya, let me just quickly rewind back to the big theme. And I want to say that it's not just about lack of economic hope. It's also a falling back on a kind of hysterical populism on the part of every political party. I mean, you've got Rahul Gandhi promising loan waivers everywhere. You've got him saying, I'll hike MSP. You've got SOPs of Bhamasha scheme in Rajasthan, 50 lakh smartphones in Chhattisgarh, 4 lakhs being given to any person who dies in Madhya Pradesh. So the populism is rampant right now. That seems to be the only economic language at the moment. But having said that, let's come back to Telangana. Yes, I think, you know, at the end of the day, all of these leaders, whether it's Shivraj Singh Chouhan or KC Chandrasekhar or Vasundhara Raje or Raman Singh, these are regional potentates. They're difficult to dislodge. You know, they have charisma, they've got populism, they've got schemes, they're difficult to dislodge, they've got cadres, they're one-man shows. So they are very powerful.
Right.
But on the other hand, Telangana could demonstrate the power of what they're calling the Mahakutami, which is the Congress, the TDP, the Telangana Jana Shakti Party, the professors and the CPI. Now the thing is, this alliance, given the charisma of KCR, the fact that the TRS is very strong, seems to be working on the ground from what I saw. Because many factors, the most important factor being the figure of Chandrababu Naidu. Supriya, Chandrababu Naidu is emerging as the sort of Harkishan Singh Surjit of the 1990s. He's the busybody of the anti-BJP alliance. He's meeting everybody. He's meeting Mamta Banerjee, Sitaram Yechuri, Sharad Pawar. He's cobbled up this alliance. He's playing a very low-key role. He won 15 seats in the last election of Telangana, but he's contesting only 13. So the fact is that they are hoping for a kind of OBC, SC, ST,
and to think about
behind that alliance.
And to think about TDP being a part of the NDA till just not so long back, you know, that's what Indian politics and Ireland is all about. But Sanjay,
you're hardly giving me any time to
I want to take a quick question to Sanjay Jha. No, I am coming to you, Zafar. Give me a minute, I'm coming to you, Zafar, but I have a more important question for the Congress party. You accuse the BJP of playing communal politics and all of that. What explains your manifesto, which is promising free electricity to mosques and church, making Urdu the official language, special opportunities in government contracts for Muslim youth? I mean, why are you playing this card in Telangana? Why can it not be about an overall development? Why are we resorting to this at the end of the day, even by the Congress party? Sanjay Jha.
Now, Supriya, you've got to look at the demographics of the state. No, you look at the demographics of the state. You can also look at the kind of destitution that the minorities have faced in several states. Don't forget that Mr. Modi, when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, rejected the Sachar Committee report. And at the same Rajendra Sachar Committee report that highlighted that the Muslims as minorities were hardly represented in whether government jobs or in several other employment opportunities across the country, including education. So when you look at KCR in Telangana today, this is the acid test. You know, a lot of hype. He's very much like one of those figures who banks a lot on popularity in speech making along with his son. But the fundamentals are that end of day Telangana has not developed and has definitely not passed on equity. So our attempt has been to try and make sure that we not only will attract industrial investment into Telangana, but also create equity. See, the Congress has always believed in an inclusive growth model. You know, the BJP squandered it, but if you look at Narendra Modi today, he's done practically everything that we did. In fact, his savior very often has been that, hey, you know what, I'm investing more in Manrega, the same Manrega that he mocked in Parliament. So the reality of India is that there are a lot of people
I'm sorry,
below
I'll have
the
to cut you
poverty
short
line.
there. I'm
in
running
Rajasthan, for example, there are 32% people below the poverty line.
Sanjay, no, Sanjay, I'm sorry, I'll have to cut you short there. I really have to take this break. Sanjay, give me a minute. I will have to take this break. I come back and ask questions on Mizoram and also the big picture. Where is development as a rhetoric amidst all of this? What happened to the politics of hope that has been rightly pointed out? We come back in a minute and talk about all of that. Do stay with us right here on ET Now. This is the India Development Debate. It's good to be back with you once again, right here on the India Development Debate. And Syed Zafar Islam, sorry I couldn't come to you before the break. I'm coming to you now, but with a question on Mizoram. Your party has, been able to penetrate the northeast in the last 2-3 years. The response in Mizoram, though, seems muted, with the Congress engaged with the Mizo National Front. Your campaign, of course, is based on bringing back the BR Brew community, has seemingly backfired. How hopeful are you of making a mark in Mizoram, and how significant is this going to be? Because there are a lot of political experts out there who say that all of Northeast put together is going to be 7 seats. And does the BJP sometimes harp too much about the Northeast than it should?
See, Supriya, you will have to give me 2 minutes because you have not given me time so far. I have to rebut Sanjay Jha and I have to respond to you as well. And of course, the mind reader and face reader, Mr. Anand Rangarajan, because he was reading the face of the Prime Minister, while others you could not, and has something to say. So
I can also call you sycophant and
question you have asked about the,
please stop this mind reader business. All right?
No, please don't. Please,
be polite.
Yeah,
Mr. Anand Rangarajan, you are a scientist, but you read minds.
No,
I didn't know that.
Zafar, you go ahead with your...
Zafar, just carry on with your thing. There is no need to be derogatory about it.
Don't
I gave you facts.
This is called sycophancy. I am the official spokesperson. I have to speak about the party, but you behaving like a Congress spokesperson. I should not read a mind.
Can I please come in?
Should not see repeatedly what I have not spoken.
I thought Anand was accused the other way around.
Yeah, let me respond.
No, Zafar, please go ahead and make your points. Let's not make this a mudslinging political match. No, let's not make this a mudslinging sort of a political rhetoric. Go ahead. But please don't call names.
Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, MP, we are a sure winner. Contrary to what the other panelists are speaking about, we are absolutely winning in hands-on in the 3 states. As regards to Mizoram, you will be surprised with the outcome, and we will be critical in forming the government in Rajasthan, in Mizoram as well. And in terms of our performance in Telangana, I must admit that in Telangana we are not as strong as we are strong in other states, but we'll definitely, you will see our performance improving from what we have demonstrated in the past. But let me tell you with conviction that only after this result of election of 5 states, the only exception will be Tamil Nadu, where we will not have a representation in terms of in the assembly. Every other state we have and we will continue to have. But in Tamil Nadu right now we don't have, and that is the only state we will be left with. Telangana will have few seats. Mizoram we will be definitely supporting a government, will form the government, and in 3 states we will definitely win. Now let me respond to Mr. Sanjay Jha talking about the appeasement of such a committee report. Who is responsible? It's a certificate for your policy. The policy you have doubted all along. Today you are playing a communal card by having a different kind of policy here in Telangana and different policy in Madhya Pradesh and elsewhere. That only suggests that during your tenure, when you were in power, UPS government, Congress government, the minorities has actually not gained anything. In terms of representation in the government job, the representation of minorities was 5%, and today you must see the numbers. We do not follow the policy of appeasement, but we do everything for every community, for the welfare of every single person of the country.
No, I think by now you should say Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas.
Government representation has improved in terms of all the schemes. The major beneficiary is Muslim. Purely because Muslim, you are left Muslim.
Okay, I'm sorry, Zafar. Now you can't accuse me of not giving you time.
They are the biggest gainer of all the policies.
No, 1 second. Zafar Islam. Zafar, you cannot now accuse me that I didn't give you time. You've spoken for an entire 3 minutes. No people do that on my show, but I indulged you because you said I did not give you time before the break. I have to move to the big picture, and talking about the big picture, Sadanand, let me start this one with you, and then of course Anand Ranganathan on this. In spite of burning issues like the agrarian crisis that one sees in the Hindi heartland, the lack of jobs, economy under stress, we see a trend towards below-the-belt personal attacks. The shift is towards maa-baap discourse. Is this going to be the rhetoric in a run-up to 2019? Is this rhetoric here to stay? Sadanand.
I'm afraid it is. I think that there is no question that political rhetoric in India is becoming coarser and coarser. This is not exactly new. It's been going on for a while. And I'm afraid that this is a bit of a race to the bottom, where, you know, one party sort of, you can take your pick where it starts, but there's no question that coarseness has simply become a fact when it comes to Indian rhetoric. Now, you know, you could argue that this is what the people want, this is what people respond to, that politicians have a better sense of what works than pundits do, and I think that's that's a fair observation. But at the same time, I think it does show that we're moving away from an ability in Indian politics to have these larger debates about policy, right? I mean, the only policy, as Sagarika pointed out, I mean, all you have is this sort of rampant populism. That's the kind of closest you get to policy. And I'm not expecting people to have these sort of, you know, very serious wonkish debates. But what you're seeing is the quality of discourse in the democracy is declining precipitously. And this is something that should concern us all.
No, fair point indeed. I just think I completely agree with you on the discourse getting coarser, and I really think this is a race to the bottom, and I think everybody is there to outdo each other. But Anand, look at the manifestos of political parties who are contesting these state elections. You know, slowly and very steadily, the objective is to pander to religion than, say, economic or social growth. And one of the questions that I want to raise is, do people even, you know, do manifestos matter? Do people really believe there will be 50 lakh jobs that will be created? I mean, that was promised in 2014. Now in Rajasthan, they're doing it. I wonder if people, you know, ever wonder where will these jobs come from? And why is this being told to us 3 weeks before election, 2 weeks before we go to vote?
You know, manifestos in our country are like homeopathic medicine. You know, everyone takes it and no one's sure what effect it has. In fact, it has zero effect. But, you know, I want to make two very quick points. One, I think Sadanand before we went on a break, he made an excellent observation. And I like to delve on that. You know, he talked about hope, the loss of hope. It might be true, but let's remember, you see, there is anti-incumbency all around at the center as well as at the states. And in our country, you know, people win not because they have succeeded, but because the other person has failed. Now, you have this, and if you remember, if Sadanand remembers, you know, before 2014, there was a lot of hope because people wanted to crush corruption. So they were talking a lot of scams. Now, I'd like Supriya, you to ask the Congress spokesperson as well as the one who accused me of mind reading as to there is this huge scam in Madhya Pradesh, Vyapam scam, which has actually taken the lives of a dozen people, whistleblowers. Why is it that both Congress and the BJP are mum on it? Is it because both of them are involved? And very quickly, the next point that, you know, anti-incumbency can be driven away a little bit in all the three states, principally because actually the center has done commendable work through its central schemes like Ujjwala, for example. So the center has actually chipped in order to help the states over the last 2 or 3 years. Ujjwala, you have toilet buildings, although, you know, it's disputable as to what the quality of it is. You have electricity, but most of all Ujjwala. So, you know, the center is chipping in, and I think that would help allay the anti-incumbency fear. But at the same time, do ask these spokespersons, why are they quiet about the Vyapam scam?
Trust me, I will ask them, and sometimes I wonder how many more people will have to die before that, you know, the Vyapam scam really comes to light and is completely resolved. But Sagarika, we seem to be back to square one. We are talking about Ayodhya, we are talking about Ram, we are talking about Yogi Adityanath, who is a star campaigner. Is he what the BJP needs to win, and is he going to be setting the discourse for 2019?
You know, Supriya, when I came away from Madhya Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath was in Madhya Pradesh, and he is saying, well, they have Ali, we have Bajrang Bali. You know, this is a reference to the video of Kamal Nath, which was circulating, talking about Muslims voting for the Congress and how we need to get, how the Congress needs to get more Muslim representation into the, more Muslim voters into the Muslim booths, so-called. And so in relation to this video, Yogi Adityanath was saying, well, they have Ali and we have Bajrang Bali, and I came away with this terrible sense of bathos, because you know what I had seen for the 10 days that I traveled was just such a shock in realizing how far our media narratives are from the real nitty-gritty of what's happening in India. There are no jobs. Farmers are in such terrible distress. Notebandi has been a apocalypse in people's lives. Tomato farmers have been ruined. Businesses have been ruined. There are villages, entire villages I saw where there are no jobs, not a single salaried person in that village. Nobody has, you know, there are whole districts where where Notebandi has ruined all the small industries. You know, I spoke to a farmer who farms tomatoes who told me how his entire crop had been ruined because of Notebandi. I mean, the distress and misery out there is just so shocking. It is so huge. It is such an avalanche. You go to places where there's no infrastructure, there are no roads, there are no there are no basic amenities, there's no water, there's no you know, there's no electricity. Yes, there have been some schemes. The Sambal Yojana in Madhya Pradesh has clicked. It's done well. If, you know, free power is there. There's free power in Telangana. Yes, there's free rice in Chhattisgarh. But these are, you know, bits and pieces here and there. The general reality of India, of the real India, is just so dire. But and on this dire reality, you have mandir, masjid. And, you know, I went to the Mahakal temple in Ujjain and I asked people there that, you know, do you want mandir, masjid or do you want jobs? And they said, well, we all want jobs. Mandir hona chahiye, but we want jobs. I mean, the hunger for jobs, Supriya.
And who wouldn't want a job if you're not gainfully employed? But Sagarika, you know, you're taking me to a point where I think both politicians on the show need to answer this question. And Sanjay Jha, let me begin with you because you are the challenger and in many ways, you know, the incumbent is BJP, and I'll go to Zafar next as a last question. The point that Sagarika is making, as somebody who stood, as Sadanand said, as Anand said, there are such burning issues. And, you know, those burning issues seem to have been completely given a backseat, whether it is demonetization, whether it's joblessness. You are just harping on Rafale, an issue that's not resonating on the ground in Madhya Pradesh. Why are you not talking about the Vyapam scam? Why are you not talking about basic amenities missing in India of 2018? It's very, you know, it's good for us to sit and do an India development debate at 9 p.m. Every evening from these plush studios of ours. The reality is there are parts of this country that are going to elections that don't have drinking water, that don't have basic amenities. Why are you not making those electoral issues? Why are you allowing this narrative to be about Maa-Baap, about Mandir, about visiting this Dargah, going to that temple? I mean, why are we reducing elections to mere optics?
You know, Supriya, one harsh political reality is, and I'm not being critical of the media, but the media consumes, you know, what appears to be a very attractive headline, and that usually happens to be, you know, something that raises the communal temperature. The fact of the matter is that we are fighting the election across states on these issues. I'll give you an example. Anand asked this question on Vyapam. Now, Vyapam is no ordinary corruption, and the number is, by the way, not dozen. There are over 56 to 58 who have been killed. It's a macabre, you know, almost some kind of a, you know, Wild West in operation. It's deadly. It's something which will frighten people to know what Vyapam is all about. Now, the truth is, Vyapam is not the only scam. There is e-tendering scam, there's a DMAT scam, there's a dumper scam, and we are going all across Madhya Pradesh telling them about not just the financial corruption, but, you know, one more point for Anand's consumption and for the benefit of your viewers. How many people know that Madhya Pradesh is got the maximum rapes in the country? I mean, it's vicious. Assaults on women are, you know, absolutely, you know, the worst kind of statistics you can imagine. Now, these are the issues on which we have fought the election.
So why are you not talking
and I can
about
tell you
those
one
issues?
thing, notwithstanding the political arrogance of the BJP.
So sure about that.
No, I think I heard Zafar say we are going to win.
Okay.
No, I want to let you know. The truth is, if the BJP was confident, Narendra Modi as India's Prime Minister would not have kind of gone down to the level of making it of his personal victimhood. And you know, the way the BJP is going on and about Mr. Rahul Gandhi's I think these are reflections.
Sanjay, give me a minute. I will have to go to Zafar Islam and close this show there. And okay, Zafar, every election, your star campaigner is the Prime Minister. And there's an important data that Sagarika and I were discussing in the break. The Prime Minister did 34 rallies in Gujarat. He did 21 in Karnataka. He's done only 5 in Chhattisgarh and 11 in MP. What is happening here? Is he withdrawing from the battlefront? Is he leaving it to the states themselves because these are perhaps strong states for the BJP? Is he letting the election be fought on Shivraj Singh Chouhan? What is happening? There is a very distinct Modi magic that helps you every time there's an election, to the extent that, you know, some of the most senior-most people in the PMO says, "Abhi wait kariye, Modi ji ko aane dijiye मैदान में." What has happened? Why is he reducing his presence? And I'll have to close it with that.
No, let me respond to that. Now, let me respond to that. As far as the Honorable Prime Minister is concerned, he has to, based on the demand, based on his availability, his schedule gets fixed. And also, the 11 is sufficient for a state like Madhya Pradesh, where we are extremely strong in terms of our organization, in terms of our workers, in terms of our foot soldiers, in terms of our people with conviction, and in terms of our state leadership, which is very, very strong. And the face of Mr. Chouhan is extremely popular. And when you have a dink, when I was talking about the family which has a double income group, like here, when you have at center, when you have Prime Minister like Mr. Modi, who is extremely popular in these states, and you have a state leader like Mr. Chouhan, Mr. Raman, they are extremely popular, or Mrs. Raje, they are extremely popular, then your job is actually very is less burdened as compared to other states. But let me also talk about VAPAM. In fact, VAPAM, if you see that the Honorable Chief Minister of the state had actually asked CBI to investigate. He has been given a clean sheet by the Honorable Supreme Court, and Honorable Supreme Court has asked to file FIR against four Congress senior leaders of Madhya Pradesh,
including
one second.
Zafar, I'm sorry.
Including Kamal Nath, including Mr. Singh and
Zafar,
others.
I'm sorry. I have completely run out of time here. My apologies. I should have discussed. No, I can't. There is a discipline to the show. This is not a political rally where everybody can speak for as long as they want to. But I take your point. Just to point out to you here, Gujarat is a much smaller state. He still did 34 rallies there. So his demand and whatever else you say, just put that in perspective. But anyways, I will grant the fact that the Prime Minister has a lot of work in New Delhi. I like the fact that he's not campaigning and will in fact focus on governance here. And I do wish if there is a regime change in any of these states, governance will come back into focus. And even if there isn't governance and this rhetoric is going to dissipate, and we'll perhaps see, you know, make in India, we will see development, we'll see jobs come back to that narrative. I don't know if that's too much to ask of our politicians, but thank you very much for this fascinating discussion. Sagrika Ghosh, Anand Ranganathan, Sadanand Dume, Sanjay Jha, and of course Syed Zafar Islam. Thank you very much for being with us in this edition of the India Development Debate.